Right, okay, fan reaction time then. Burnley 1, Oxford United nil. And yet again, I'm seeing a lot of negativity on Parker, a lot of negativity on the style of play. In certain games, that's fair enough. In the certain games, I think that's fair enough. The football isn't for everybody. The play can sometimes be a little bit negative. Obviously, Leeds, for example, that was very just let's not lose. And if you're that way inclined, fair enough. But I don't see how anyone can complain about the tactics and things like that in tonight's game. Burnley were by far and away the better side. Well, let's just break it down. So in my opinion, Burnley started the Oxford started the game in the first 5 minutes, that kind of on the front foot, but eventually Burnley got a hold in the game and were easily the better side in that first half. They were moving the ball quicker, they were committing bodies forward, there were some nice patterns of play, which is quite rare for us, admittedly, this season, but we were doing some nice patterns of play. And the main thing was we were creating chances. How our XG, I looked at our XG at half time and it was like, I can't remember what it was, I think 0.6 something, and I was staggered it was that low. Burnley were brilliant in that first half. The only problem with Burnley in that first half is that they just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. Oxford did it for us. They eventually just, by hook or by crook, just managed to get the ball over the line. But Fleming missed a sitter. Foster missed a sitter. Fleming then missed another sitter, which, to be fair, the keeper saved, but you've got to be scoring regardless. And then Loren had that one where, I've already mentioned it on the 60-second review, but in my opinion, a professional footballer should be doing better than that, than what Loren did with that one. It does bounce awkwardly for him, to be fair, and he is stretching, but yeah, how one of them didn't go in is absolutely beyond me. But you can't sit there and say that 0-0, or what was looking to be a 0-0 at one point, was on Parker, because it wasn't. We were by far and away the better side, and the players just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. It was on the players, but not all of them, just the ones that were missing the sitters. I thought Lyle had a poor game in the first half, but then he was brilliant in the second. I don't want to see Lyle on the left side of that front three anymore, front four, whatever you want to call it. But I thought in that second half he played well. Having said that, in the second half, I do think we were quite poor. I feel like sometimes, and I think the second half is where all these criticisms come from, because I do feel like in that second half, we were just too cautious. And I feel like people were just a little bit frustrated with how cautious we were being. And with all due respect, I don't mean any disrespect to Oxford the team or the fans here, but when you're being cautious at home to Oxford, you can kind of get some fans' frustrations. I just feel like sometimes you've got to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and think we've won, we've gone second, we're unbeaten in 17, 18, it's that many, I don't know, league games. We've lost 5 of our last 5 of our last 100 championship games. Oxford hadn't lost a game under Gary Rowett until tonight, until they came to Turf Moor. The last time they lost was away to Leeds, or it was against Leeds, I know that much. But that was when Gary Rowett was still in the stands. He had been appointed that day, but he wasn't the manager. So it's the first time they've lost under Gary Rowett as well. So I feel like sometimes we're just expecting to roll teams over very, very easily. And it's not always going to be the case. Some people will go, well, Leeds did it to Cardiff. Yeah, it's fair enough. We've rolled teams over as well. We've rolled Plymouth over. It's not going to happen every week for Leeds. Happens more often than it does for us, to be fair. But I just feel like sometimes, just take a step back and look at the bigger picture. The second half wasn't great. I do feel like we were too cautious, and I do feel like we started passing it back a little bit more in that second half. And what annoys me, and I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here, I don't think this is the case, but it's almost like it's a case of you get in there at half time, it's like, right lads, we're 1-0 up, you've done well. Instead of the management style or the tactics is more based on seeing the game out rather than killing teams off. And if it works, it works and gets us to second. I've said a million times, if we win 1-0 another 10 times and that gets us to second, I'll rip your hand off right now. But there is some games where you just think, go and kill them off. Like, would Vincent Kompany have have saw the game out, or would he have killed Oxford off or tried to kill Oxford off? That's my only gripe with it, and still another few issues with Parker playing players out of position. I know I've just said Lau played well in that second half on the left, but he is a striker. He didn't look like a striker with that chance. But play him in the position. Play these lads in the right positions. Foster in the 9, Fleming in the 10, and then Edwards and Benson, hopefully, soon enough, on the flanks. Thought Anthony, I thought he's Mr. Consistent, but he's giving like your 6.5s out of 10s every single week, and every now and then he will stick in like an 8, like he did at Sheffield Wednesday. And there's been some others in there. That's just the first one I can remember. But again, end product not the best from him today. I thought Esteve and CJ Gonzalez, there's no point in even talking about him anymore, because you know you're going to get 8.5s out of them every single week. Esteve was fantastic. Again, there's just so many times where it looks like a team is going to break, or obviously in this case Oxford is going to break, and he just reads the game so well. He doesn't even look like he's doing much, because it's not like last-ditch tackles and stuff like, your Ben Mees and stuff used to be well known for. He just reads the game so well. He knows what's happening before it even happens, and then he just steps in front of these players, stops anything from developing. And then he was fantastic. I did like CJ Gonzalez's run as well. That was brilliant. It was the best. I tweeted saying it was the best forward run, easy for me to say, of the game. So I thought he was good. And Trafford, genuinely, he could have had a deck chair out. He didn't have anything to do, really, did he? I don't remember him making a save. They had a couple of chances off the top of my head. One that went wide. They had one a little bit later as well. But yeah, Trafford, obviously another clean sheet. We haven't conceded a goal for what feels like 4.5 years now, and obviously Trafford's got to get a lot of credit for that. I have said that several times, but against Oxford he practically could have had the deck chair out, so he didn't really have much to do. One of the easiest clean sheets he'll ever keep. But yeah, another brilliant defensive display from Burnley. I did think Connor Roberts was a little bit cautious. The amount of times where Connor Roberts, I think, get forward or make the right pass, and he'd just pass it back and be a bit too cautious for me. But again, that could be the manager. But yeah, it's a win against a team that hadn't lost since late December. Had never lost under this manager. They've lost the first game under this manager. And we're up into second. All right, that might not last long, because Sheffield United are playing on Saturday in the league, and obviously we're playing... Is it Saturday? They're playing at some point in the weekend in the league. And obviously we've got FA Cup stuff to worry about now. But yeah, you'll absolutely take being second. And I see a lot of people saying we don't deserve to be second. We do. The league table doesn't lie in February. We deserve to be second. There's a lot of people, I think, again, I feel like I spend half of these videos now mourning about people mourning. But I feel like there's a lot of people just mourning for the sake of it. And Burnley deserve to be second. Like, just because we're not entertaining doesn't mean we're not good. Like, people constantly keep saying, like, oh, this is the worst team I've seen at this ground for years. Like, Portsmouth fans were saying it on Saturday. Load of rubbish. Least entertaining team, maybe, but definitely not the worst. We deserve to be second. I do still feel like we'll edge out Sheffield United. Sunderland are the team that worries me the most. Yeah, fingers crossed, obviously, we can stay in second, obviously, when we go down to Southampton at the weekend. But yeah, I'll absolutely take being in second now. 2 points off top as well. And for all this negativity, you wouldn't think it, would you? But yeah, unbeaten for a very long time. We'd be creating songs about this under Daesh, but people just don't seem too bothered this time. I think too many people have just got it in for Parker that no matter what happens or what he achieves, he won't get the credit that he deserves. And I do feel like he deserves a lot of credit for where we are in the league right now. I don't care too much that it's not entertaining. The second half was a tough watch tonight, and the game against Portsmouth was a tough watch. But if we're getting the wins, I don't particularly care, to be honest with you. I don't particularly care. It's when we're not winning the games when it becomes an issue. But yeah, absolutely we'll take that. We've beaten a team that haven't lost for a very long time. They were stubborn, and we should have been out of sight at half-time. Like I said earlier, if the lads had been putting the chances away, it could genuinely have been 5-0 at half-time. That's not even an exaggeration. Obviously, we went 5-0 up against Plymouth in the first half. It could have been a repeat tonight. It genuinely could. We just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, unfortunately. And I do feel like today was another example of why we should have bought a striker. I know some people, and I agree with this point, to be fair, but some people say there's no point bringing a striker in when you don't create enough chances. But on the games where we do create enough chances, like tonight, it highlights that we do need somebody better. We do need somebody better, or somebody, just a striker would help. Playing as a striker. But yeah, for me, like I said, take it, 100% take it, up into second, and let's worry about the FA Cup on Saturday now and hope that our fellow promotion rivals don't steal a march on us at the weekend in their games. But yeah, absolutely take that, up the Clarets.